Yesterday, I told you about this Vettapa partner, and at the end only, I discussed about the dissolution of partnership business and partnership firm. When you come across partnership business, before going for partnership business, all the partners they have to enter into partnership deed or partnership agreement or articles of partnership. So at the time of this preparation of partnership deed only, they have to mention the clause. That is, whenever a partner, whenever a partner admits or retires or dies, okay, the continuing partners or the existing partners, they can continue the business. Like that, they have to keep a clause in the partnership deed. According to Partnership Act of 1932, okay, whenever any partner, when he retires from the business, or whenever any partner, when he expires, okay, then the partnership must be seized. That is, it will come to an end. Okay, so in order to eliminate that, the partners, when they are going for this partnership deed, they have to mention the clause that the existing partners or the continuing partners, they can carry on their business. Whenever you come across this clause, automatically the business will exist. And yesterday itself, I told you that there is a lot of difference between partnership business and partnership firm. The collective name of all partners will call that thing as partnership firm, and it is entirely different from partnership business. When you come across closing of partnership business, it won't have its impact on this firm. It won't have its impact. That is, you won't come across much impact on this partnership firm. But whenever a partnership firm, when it is going to be closed or when it is going to be dissolved, ultimately the business will have its effect. The closure of this partnership firm will have its impact on this business. That is, the business will come down, and it must be closed. And whatever it may be, the assets that are there in the partnership business, they must be realized in the open market, and all the outside liabilities are to be settled. And whatever it may be, the claims of the partners, they must be settled, and the partners, they will take. So with this, the partnership business will come to an end. So this is the difference that we come across. When any partnership business, when it closes, it won't have its impact on this partnership firm. But one thing you have to keep in mind is, whenever the partnership firm, when it is dissolving, it will have its impact on the business, and the business will come to an end. That is, completely the business must be closed. Okay, so this is the thing that you will come across between dissolution of firm and dissolution of partnership business. Okay, ma'am. Now, what are the things that we will come across? What is the accounting treatment that we'll come across? All these things we have to see now. Okay, whenever a partnership firm, when it dissolves, we have to open a separate account known as realization account. And all the assets and liabilities, they are to be transferred to this realization account. Okay, and with this realization account, we'll come to know about the profit amount or the loss amount on realizing of the assets as well as on payment of the liabilities. And this profit amount or loss amount, it must be distributed to the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. And we have to see what are the claims, what are the claims that are to be made by the partners in full settlement of their accounts. So after the claims are met, after the claims are derived, the partners, what they will do is, they will withdraw the claims from the business, thereby the business will come to an end. So the accounting treatment here, it is very, very important. Okay, the accounting treatment is very, very important. And what is the accounting treatment that we'll come across? Whenever a firm is dissolved, a special account called realization account is prepared to know the net gain or loss on the realization of assets and liabilities. Okay, all these things. A separate account, realization account, it should be open. Now, first one is for transfer of assets. For transfer of assets, realization account that are to various assets account. That is, individually, we have to transfer all the assets to the realization account. And one more thing is, cash and bank balances are not to be transferred to realization account. We should not transfer cash and bank balances to realization account. Next, the assets must be transferred to the realization account at their book values. Okay, at their book values. Next, unrecorded assets, you should not transfer them to realization account. Next, the assets against which provisions, such as provision for doubtful debts, provision for bad debts, all these things, whenever you come across, you have to transfer at gross values, and all the provisions you have to transfer separately, and all the assets you have to show at their gross values. They should not be deducted and they should not be shown separately. Next, accumulated losses like profit and loss account, debit balance, all these things, they should not be transferred to realization account. These are the various things that you have to keep in mind when you are transferring all the things. And what is the second one? As we are transferring the assets to realization, in the same way, whatever it may be, the liabilities that we come across, they must also be transferred along with the provisions. Okay, so for transfer of liabilities to third parties and provisions and reserves against assets, liabilities account data individually, provisions account data individually to realization account. Okay, so this thing you have to take into account the second one. And here, the liabilities and the provisions, they must be transferred at their book values. Each liability and provision is transferred individually. Accumulated profits, example, okay, profit and loss account, credit balance, reserves, okay, surpluses, all these things, they should not be transferred. They must be distributed among the partners in their whole profit sharing ratio. Okay, next, loan accounts, capital accounts, and current accounts of partners should not be transferred to realization. Okay. Loan accounts, capital accounts, and current accounts of partners, they should not be transferred to realization account. Okay, so this is the second thing that we have come across. Next, third one is for realizing assets, that is for selling the assets in the open market. Bank account that are to realization account. So whatever it may be, the amount that is coming, we have to transfer to bank. So bank account that are to realization account. Next, for assets taken over by a partner. If any partner, if they want to take any asset, okay, that thing also we have to take into account. We have to transfer to realization account. So for assets taken over by a partner, partner's capital account that are to realization account. Okay, who is this? What is the asset and who is the person who is taking that asset? We have to take that partner's capital account and we have to transfer to realization account. So partner's capital account that are to realization account. Next, for the payment or discharge of liabilities. Okay, we have to pay to the third parties. We have to pay to the third parties. And when we are paying to third parties, that is when we are discharging the liabilities. Okay, realization account that are to bank account. Realization account, that is whatever it may be, the amounts that we got by realizing the assets, from that we have to pay to the third parties, or we have to settle the liabilities. Next, for the liabilities agreed to be discharged by a partner. Sometimes the partners, they will come forward and they'll say that we are going to discharge this liability. In that case, okay, realization account at R2, partners capital accounts. Realization account at R2, partners capital account. So that is the thing. That is, whenever any partner, when he wants to take the liability and when he wants to discharge that, so you have to give that to the partner. So realization account at R2, partners capital account. Next, for expenses of realization. So when you are going for realization, automatically you will come across some expenses, and those expenses will call them as realization expenses. And whenever you come across this realization expenses, how we have to show that? Realization account at R2, bank account. Realization account at R2, bank account. Okay. If a partner agrees to bear realization expenses in consideration of an agreed amount to be paid to him, okay. Suppose if any partner, if he says, I'm going to bear the realization expenses, whatever it may be, then what we have to do is realization account at R2, partners capital account. That thing also we have to transfer the expenses portion which a partner agrees to bear. That thing also we have to transfer to the partners capital account. So realization account at R2, partners capital account. Next, in such a case, no entry is made in the books for the actual expenses paid by the partner. Okay, there is no necessity for us to record the actual expenses because the partner is, okay, it is the headache of the partner. So we have to transfer the expenses to the partner's capital account. Next, on doing all these things, okay, sometimes you'll come across a profit amount and sometimes you'll come across a loss amount. Okay, whatever it may be, whether it may be a profit amount or a loss amount, it should be transferred to partners in their old profit sharing ratio. So for transfer of profit on realization account at R2, partners capital accounts. In their old profit sharing ratio, we have to transfer. Now, in case of loss, suppose if we come across any realization loss, then what we have to do? That loss also, it should be distributed among the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. So in that case, okay, partners capital account at R2, realization account. That is entry. Partners capital account at R2, realization account. Okay. Next, for payment of partners loan. Okay. Whenever the partner, when he takes any loan from the, okay, whenever the partner, when he gives some loan amount to the business, and for that also you have to take into account. So for payment of partners loan account at R2, bank account. Partners loan account at R2, bank account. Sometimes we'll come across Mrs. loan. Okay, the partner's wife, she will give some amount to the partnership business. So in that case, you have to transfer that Mrs. loan to the concerned partner's capital account. We should not take that into account. But transferring accumulated profits to partners capital account, reserve fund account data, profit and loss account data to partners capital account. Okay, if there is any debit balance, that is debit balance means loss. That loss also, it should be transferred to partners capital account. So in that case, partners capital account at R2, profit and loss account. So that debit balance. Next, after that, for closing capital accounts, that is for complete settlement. For closing capital accounts, partners capital account at R2, bank account. Partners capital account at R2, bank account. Okay. In case a partner's capital account shows a debit balance, it is required to clear off his debit balance before making payment to others. Suppose if any partner, if he is having any less amount, then that partner, he has to bring that debit amount, then only the sharing will be done. Okay. Whenever the partners, when they settle, automatically the bank balance will become zero, and we can say that the partnership business is dissolved or it came to an end. So all the people, they have to be very careful when we are going for dissolution of partnership. People, they'll go for this, okay, they can do this partnership. Okay, capital account they can prepare, that is taking into account the fixed capital account and the fluctuating capital account. Okay, and after that, they can go for this admission of a partner, they can do that. Okay, and retirement and death also they can do, provided, okay, they must understand clearly, okay, regarding the goodwill treatment, how we have to do that. All these things you can do. But one thing you have to keep in mind is, okay, from dissolution of partnership onwards, the people, they must be the students or the learners, they must be very careful. They should not go in a whims and fancies manner. They must pay attention. They must pay their concentration from this dissolution of firm. And after this dissolution of firm, you'll come across insolvency of a firm, insolvency of a partner. Okay, so insolvency of a partner, it is also very, very important. And whenever any partner, when he became insolvent or insane, okay, then immediately the partnership business must be closed according to section, okay, according to the Act 1932 of Indian Partnership Act. Whenever any partner, when he expires or when he became insolvent or insane, okay, then the partnership business is subjected to close. So insolvency of a partner, it is also very, very important, okay, in after dissolution of partnership. Okay, in insolvency of a partner, we'll come across one important, beautiful case, that is nothing but Garner versus Murray. Okay, so this thing, it happened in London, England. Okay, so this Garner versus Murray, it will give the guidelines for insolvency of a partner. So what do you mean by this insolvency of a partner? Whenever any partner, when he cannot be in a position to pay off his debts, then, okay, we will call that thing as insolvency of a partner. And one thing I want to tell you is insolvency and bankruptcy. Okay, these are the two terms, and okay, the meaning, even though the words are different, the meaning is one and the same. Insolvency is a British word, whereas bankruptcy is an Indian word. But what is happening is, people, they cannot able to understand this. Okay, bankruptcy and insolvency, they refer to one and the same. Only the names, they are changing. And this insolvency is nothing but an English word, whereas bankruptcy is nothing but an Indian word. Okay, but most of the people, or 90% of the people, they will take into account this insolvency English word only. Whenever any partner, when he is unable to pay off his debts, outside debts, debts means outside debts, please, then we can say that he became insolvent. Whenever a partner, when he becomes insolvent, whatever it may be, the deficiency, okay, that we come across, the solvent partners, they have to bear that. So insolvency, we can take a small example for this insolvency. Okay, when you take a glass of water and when you keep sugar, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and if we just tilt it, automatically the sugar will dissolve in the water. That is nothing but solvency. That is, okay, when the partners, when they can able to pay off their outside debts, then the position of the business is solvent and solvency. And when you take same glass of water and when you keep some sand, and whenever you tilt, and whatever it may be, the time that you tilt, the sand won't dissolve in the water. Okay, it will appear as a residue only. It will appear as a residue at the bottom. So we can say that it is nothing but insolvent. That is, a person who cannot be in a position to pay off his outside debts, we will call that thing as insolvency. And when we go for this insolvency, the partners, Okay, they will forward a petition to the registrar as well as court of law that so and so person he became insolvent, and we humbly request to close the business. Then the registrar, he will appoint a person known as a official receiver, and all the partners they have to submit each and everything to the official receiver, and the receiver he will realize the assets and he will pay the amount outside payments, whatever it may be. And whenever you come across any deficiency of a person, that is insolvent person's deficiency, whatever it may be, it should be shared by the solving partners in their capital ratios. That is the case of Garner versus Murray. Okay, so it happened in England, and in that case, you'll come across for argument and against argument, and the court it had given as a judgment that whatever it may be, the deficiency of an insolvent partner, it should be shared or it should be distributed by the solvent partners in their capital ratios. Okay, some people they'll argue that, sir, they are having profit and loss account. Okay, fine. They are having profit and loss account. When you come across, the business, when it incurs, when it gets profit or when it incurs losses, then only we have to think about the profit and loss account. It is not the question of this profit or loss. It is the deficiency, okay, inability of the person to pay off his debts. That inability, okay, that inability is entirely different from this profit or loss. So the deficiency, whatever it may be of an individual partner or an insolvent partner, it should be distributed between the solving partners who are capable of, okay, clearing their debts. Those people, they have to share the deficiency in their capital ratio. This is the judgment given in Garner versus Murray. And since then, people they are going for all the years, people they are adopting the same method. That is Garner versus Murray case only they are following. Okay, so there is no alteration for that Garner versus Murray case. Whenever a partner, when he becomes insolvent, the deficiency of the insolvent partner must be distributed among the solvent partners in their capital ratios. That thing people they must keep in their mind. Okay, so with this, I'm stopping, and tomorrow we are going for insolvency of a partner, what we have to do and how the insolvency will be. Okay, so until then, have a nice day.